Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be solving absolute value equations. So the first one that we're going to do is a little bit simple. So you have the absolute value of x is equal to 3. Well, because both 3 and negative 3 are 3 units away from 0 on the number line, we can say that x will be equal to both of these values, 3 and negative 3. So how do we get that? Well, because we know that x can be equal to 3 or negative 3, because of knowledge of absolute value, we can set the equation x to equal negative 3 and x to equal positive 3. And that's what we're going to be doing in subsequent problems. So here we go. Here's our first equation. What you have is the absolute value of 3x minus 4 equals 12. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite the equation without the absolute value signs, but because we know that this value right here can be equal to negative 12 or 12, because the absolute value of negative 12 is 12 and the absolute value of positive 12 is 12, we rewrite it with a positive 12 and over here with a negative 12, and then we solve. So we're just going to go plus 4, 3x equals 16, divide by 3, and x is going to equal 16 thirds. If you plug in 16 thirds for x here, 3 times 16 thirds minus 4 is going to give you 12. Cross out the 3's. 16 minus 4, the absolute value of that is 12. 12 equals 12. The absolute value of 12 equals 12, so that's a check. Let's try the next one. Over here, we have the negative 12. So we're going to add 4, and we have 3x equals negative 8. Divide by 3, x could be equal to negative 8 over 3. So then, we're going to check it. 3 times negative 8 over 3 minus 4, the absolute value of that needs to equal 12. So 3 over 1, multiply your fractions, the 3's cross out, absolute value of negative 8 minus 4 equals 12. And the absolute value of negative 12 equals 12, and that's a check, so that's correct. Let's try another one. Over here, we have 3x minus 5 equals 7. So we're going to rewrite, again, without the absolute value for a positive and a negative, because we know that the positive absolute value of 7 is going to equal 7, and the negative absolute value of 7 equals 7. So now we solve. Plus 5, 3x equals 12. Divide by 3, x equals 4. Plug it back in and check. The absolute value of 3 times 4 minus 5 equals 7. 12 minus 5 equals 7. 7, the absolute value equals 7. Check. Now for the negative. Add 5. 3x equals negative 2. Divide by 3, x equals negative 2 thirds. Let's check this one. 3 times negative 2 over 3 minus 5 equals 7. 3's cross out. Negative 2 minus 5, absolute value, negative 7. Absolute value is equal to 7. And that's a check. Okay, so here we have a two-step equation that's a little bit more complex. And this is because it has a coefficient of 4 in front of it. Well, we solve this just like a regular equation as well. We are going to rewrite it and divide by 4. So we start by going 4 times the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 24. And the first thing we do is we divide by 4 to get our equation that's going to be simpler. X plus 2, the absolute value, is going to be equal to 6. We also have to rewrite it as negative 6. So x plus 2 should be equal to negative 6, and x plus 2 is going to be equal to positive 6. Let's rewrite this and rewrite that. Okay, so subtract 2, x equals 4. Plug it back in. 4 times the absolute value of 4 plus 2 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. That's a check. Over here, subtract 2, x equals negative 8. Let's plug it back in. 4 times the absolute value of negative 8 plus 2 is 24. 4 times negative 6, absolute value, is 24. 4 times the absolute value of negative 6 is 6, and that's also 24, which is a check. Okay, we have 2 more examples here, and these are special cases, so let's look at what we have here. Again, we're starting with a 2-step equation, so the first thing we have to do is make it simpler. We're going to subtract 4 from each side. In this case, we have x plus 3 equals 0. So the absolute value of x plus 3 is going to equal 0. Since there's no such thing as a negative 0, this is going to have only one solution, because there's only one thing that you can add to 3 to give you 0, and that's going to be negative 3. So in this case, the only solution that x can be is equal to negative 3. That's a one solution special case. Here's another one. This is also a special case, because if we subtract 8 to make our equation simpler, we have the absolute value of x plus 2 has to equal negative 3. Well, we know from pre-algebra that an absolute value cannot be negative, so there is no solution. All right. Hopefully this will help you in your quest for math today.